What's up everybody, Jim Games Live here, and in today's video we're going to be learning about Denmark. Now, due to Corona and my current circumstances, I'm not able to travel, but I have incredible wanderlust, and I'd love learning about new places, new cultures, new foods, all sorts of things. So that's what we're going to do today. The video we have that we're going to watch is from the guys over at Geography Now. Now, they are an incredibly fascinating channel to really kind of get a ton of information shot at you at once in a very entertaining way. I really respect what these guys are doing, so I've been reacting to a ton of these videos, and today it just happens to be Denmark. So if you're new around here, please consider liking and subscribing. I do this sort of thing all the time, and I'd love to have you here with me. All right, without further ado, let's learn about Denmark. Here we go.
Remember in the Angola episode I mentioned how I went to Denmark one time and bought a sandwich that was $21? Well, this was that sandwich, and my reaction was like, $21? Oh, this better be the best sandwich I've ever had in my life.
So, 21 bucks. Are things just that expensive over there? Is it just an expensive country to go out to eat in and live in, I guess? I don't know. Hopefully we learn, but it seems pretty expensive by American standards.
You got lucky.
Oh, okay, well at least it was good.
It's time to learn geography.
Now! Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbie, Legos, Vikings, and Roll med fløjl. We got a lot to cover, so let's jump in. Denmark, the link between the rest of Europe and Scandinavia. So much to discuss. Denmark is classified as a Nordic country, hence located in the Northern European region, even though it's kind of like the southernmost state in the Nordics. Full disclaimer, ignore Wikipedia. I'm gonna pronounce the location names in their proper Danish context. So here we go. Denmark is made of the Jutland, not Jutland, peninsula that connects to Germany in the south, as well as 1,419 islands. Of those, only 443 are named, and 74 are inhabited. With the largest island being Sjælland, not Zealand, which is not to be confused with Dutch Zeeland, which is not to be confused with New Zealand, although they did get their name.
I can't take it! That's too much information!
I'm glad I'm not alone.
To Fyn Island, not Finn Island, by the Great Belt Bridge completed in 1998.
Whoa.
The country's did get their name.
I can't take it! That's too much information!
It is connected to Fyn Island, not Finn Island, by the Great
Look at the size of this bridge. I mean, we don't have much for context to compare the size or anything, but this looks like a pretty long bridge. Like, it could be the longest bridge in the world, but maybe they would have told me if it was, I guess. But this looks pretty massive for a bridge. Maybe they'll give us another angle of this thing.
Belt Bridge completed in 1998. The country is divided into 5 regions, the capital being Copenhagen, located on Sjælland. Copenhagen is home to a myriad of historical sites, palaces, statues, residential units that are all the same height and style, with pockets of colorful, quaint, cozy shops and cafes, and dangerous bicycle lanes that you are not supposed to walk on. Now this is where things are gonna get a little spiced up, and by spiced up I mean freezing cold and covered in whale blubber. Denmark, for those of you who didn't know, is a kingdom, one of the last surviving ones in Europe, and is currently under the headship of chain-smoking Queen Margaret II. These still fall under Danish sovereignty and make up the massive Greenland island and the little Faroe Islands. Both of these places are radically different from mainland Denmark. For one, Greenland is primarily inhabited by native Inuit tribal peoples that live on the island and is 80% covered in ice year-round. The Faroe Islands are a conglomeration of 20-ish mystical, cloudy, windy islands that have this crazy-looking lake that looks like it's about—
Look at that! What the hell? It's absolutely crazy to me that places like this exist. Like this kind of like just natural untapped beauty is just out there in the world right now. And here I am stuck in Boston. And places like this are out there. Again, we don't have much for scale for how tall this thing is, but I mean, it looks absolutely massive. And it also looks gorgeous. I mean, I kind of want to swim in that lake, but at the same time, I'm afraid I might get shot out of it. That is so cool. That is absolutely gorgeous. Well, let's keep going.
About to spill over the cliffs into the ocean. These two areas have their own self-governing home rule, otherwise only depending on Denmark for military, justice, currency, and foreign affairs. Otherwise, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, historically, they did try to kind of create an empire by colonizing parts of the Caribbean, Ghana, India, and then in the Nicobar Islands in the Indian Ocean, but they kind of ran out of money and ended up selling everything to other countries. Too bad. It would be awesome to see people in the Indian Ocean speaking Danish. Nonetheless, mainland Denmark is kind of like a fast-moving economic machine. Let's talk about how.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to land makeup, Denmark is pretty flat. I mean, the highest point, Møllehøj, is only about 170 meters tall, and it looks like this. Otherwise, only—
What?
Now, when it comes to land makeup, Denmark is pretty flat. I mean, the highest point, Møllehoy, is only about 170 meters tall, and it looks like this.
It's too quick. It gives me a split second of a screen there. So the highest point is just that factory building, which we just saw. Okay. What are these, Christmas trees? Well, let's keep going.
Otherwise, only about 13% of the country is forested, including the tree plantations, and the rest is pretty much used for agriculture that can produce enough food to feed about 15 million people.
Whoa.
It's about 3 times the size of their entire population. Good for you, Denmark.
Nice.
But one thing Denmark is actually famous for growing is non-produce plants like grass, fodder, and Christmas trees. The highly sought-after Danish Nordmann fir has been classified as the Rolls-Royce of Christmas trees, and every year investors from Germany, the Netherlands, and even the UK jump in at the end of November and grab whatever they can before it's gone.
I wonder what it would take for like an average American guy just like me to be able to get my hands on one of those Christmas trees for Christmas. I'm going to do some research and see if it's even possible or even affordable in the slightest. I wonder what they go for. If you've ever had one of these Christmas trees, let me know how much it cost you. I'm just curious to see what the going price for one of these things is and how sought after they are. Here in America, like I think Canadian fir or something like that is like kind of the Rolls Royce around here. I've never heard of this Christmas tree, but I mean it does. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It's almost like sparkly on its edges. Maybe that's just the mist or whatnot, but still very cool. But yeah, if you've had one of these Christmas trees, let me know what it's like. Let me know if it's worth all the hype here. If it's actually the Rolls Royce of Christmas trees.
Now, one thing you need to know is that, like many other areas in the Nordic region, Denmark's weather can be quite dreary. First of all, Denmark is the only Nordic country that doesn't really get a lot of snow. Denmark is kind of like the mud pit located below the jet stream blocked by Norway and the UK. This means that even though it gets really cold, pressure systems rarely cause snow. This is also pretty much why everybody dresses like a J. Crew fall fashion line model on the streets. If you're gonna get wet and freezing, you may as well look good while doing it. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, pretty much the rest of Denmark is just rolling green plains with sandy beaches and quirky little islands that people like to hop over for camping trips in the summer. If we were gonna talk about Greenland and the Faroe Islands, we would get a radically different story of mind-boggling, captivating cliffs, bluffs, sea stacks, glaciers, fissures, icebergs, and mountains. If you don't know—
Okay, we gotta go back on that. I know we're learning about Denmark, but holy God.
Wet and freezing, you may as well look good while doing it. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, pretty much the rest of Denmark is just rolling green plains with sandy beaches and—
Which is fine. I mean, that's beautiful and it's awesome on its own. I mean, look at that beach there. That's absolutely gorgeous. Right there with the farmhouse and everything too. Oh, man. I mean, look at the ocean there. Look how vibrant blue that is. Man, I want to travel.
Quirky little islands that people like to hop over for camping trips in the summer. If we were going to talk about Greenland and the Faroe Islands, we would get a radically different story of mind-boggling, captivating cliffs.
I mean, look at... I mean, this is Greenland, but again, I just got to see this.
Bluffs, sea stacks.
That is incredible. That is incredible. Come on. What has to happen geologically for that to form? Like, we have something for scale here with this little house, this little lighthouse looking things, but like, how many millions of years did it take for this rock formation to be formed? I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. And look how lush green that is too. I mean, I'm getting a little bit of anxiety kind of watching this thing, because like part of me wants to like travel up this thing and hike up to it, and I feel like I'd slip off. I'd totally slip off. This does not seem like a safe walking out thing. But it's gorgeous, man. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Glaciers, fissures, icebergs, and mountains. If you don't know what a Mulan is, it's not this, but this.
This Mulan is large enough to swallow a school bus.
The hell? Is that just a hole in the earth? That just looks like a hole in the earth. You can just get... Oh my God.
And mountains. If you don't know what a Mulan is, it's not this, but this.
This Mulan is large enough to swallow a school bus.
Jesus.
But we'll have to say that for another video. That'll come out in 9,374 years. In the meantime, let's talk about the people.
All right.
Now this is gonna get really fun. Denmark's people are really unique in their cultural, historical, and postmodern upbringing. First of all, the country has about 5.7 million people and is one of the highest taxed countries in the world. About 89% of the country identifies as ethnically Danish, about 11% are other.
You know, before we move on, I'd love to ask you a question. If you're from Denmark, it says that you're one of the highest taxed countries in the world. I'm wondering how you feel about that. Do you have things like free schooling and healthcare and things to kind of like help you out along the way? I I mean, we're taxed pretty heavy here in in Massachusetts specifically, but in America in general, and we do not have free healthcare or schooling. So I'm wondering your take. I mean, is it worth the taxes? Is it not worth the taxes? Part of me just kind of wants all this stuff to be included, just so people can get an education and not have to die if they get sick. You know, the little things in life. Interesting. I wonder what the tax rate is.
Some of the largest groups in the other category being the Polish, Germans, Turkish, Romanians, Iraqis, and Afghans. Now, when it comes to Danish culture, there's a lot behind it, but in a nutshell, Vikings. Vikings pretty much had their start in what is now present-day Denmark, and whom pretty much dominated all of the Nordic regions as far as Newfoundland in Canada to Estonia, which is why most of the Nordic states and regions can pretty much understand each other when they talk. Danes, Swedes, Norwegians, and Icelanders can generally understand each other as they have the same basic linguistic structure. Sure, there are subtle discrepancies, but overall they can kind of get by conversationally. Granted, there's a saying, the Norwegian and Swedish languages sound like dancing fairies, whereas the Danish language sounds like a dude with a potato in his mouth. By the way, anybody who wants to learn Danish, full disclosure, it's gonna suck. The J makes the Y sound, the Y makes the U sound, the V makes a W sound, the R makes a R sound, the H is silent half the time, a ton of the letters are never even used.
So I'm just never gonna learn the language. I'm sorry, it just will never happen. I can barely speak English, so this just sounds absolutely crazy.
And don't even get started on A, U, and O.
Yeah,
I
what
kind
is
of
that
discovered
thing?
a little trick though when I went to Denmark. When speaking Danish, all you really have to do is kind of like pronounce the first part of the word that you think makes a sound, and then just kind of like give up on the rest of the word. For example, Copenhagen.
That's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I do.
Newbrogen, Løvstrand. I'm literally just listing names of places in Copenhagen that I've been to. Honestly though, you really won't have much of a problem getting around if you speak English. Over 80% of the entire country, mostly the younger generation, speaks proficient English to the point where they don't even need subtitles when watching American TV shows and movies.
Oh, wow.
Also, keep in mind, Greenland has its own language that is completely unintelligible as it's an Inuit language closer to the indigenous Inuktitut and Yupik languages found in Canada and Alaska. And Faroese is pretty hard for most Danish people to grasp as it actually has more words rooted in the ancient Norse language, and it's actually more intelligible to Icelandic. Back to culture though, Denmark has definitely left its mark, whether it's notable figures like author Hans Christian Andersen, philosopher Søren Kierkegaard, or whether...
Pronounce his name?
That's actually how you pronounce his name.
Wow.
It's not Søren Kierkegaard. It's... Or whether it be the invention of the loudspeaker, or Legos, or their love of handball.
You guys created Legos over there? Thanks. Love those things.
Their impeccable architecture, love of cuisine. Noma in Copenhagen, by the way, being voted the best restaurant in the world with plates that feature live ants and moss.
What? All right, so Noma, this guy is saying that it's the best restaurant in the world, and it features live ants and moss. Moss, okay, I could see it being delicious. I eat mostly a vegetarian diet, but live ants, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Have you ever tried this? Is this something that you're willing to try? If you're from Denmark, please, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know. It doesn't look that great. I'm not going to lie. On first look here, live ants don't look delicious. Like, what are they on over here, too? Like, what is this thing? It looks like, is it just meat? Are they on slabs of meat? Is that like flank steak or something under there? I see some sea salt, some ants, some sort of herbs. I'm seeing some greens in there, and what looks like either raw fish or some sort of meat. I don't know. Probably not for me, but I don't know. Interesting.
If you're really gonna get a feel for Danish culture though, you kind of have to know about janteloven and hygge. The funny thing is, Danes are kind of brought up in a social mindset that is kind of integrated into their subconscious, known as janteloven, which kind of translates to something like, you are not better than the crowd, which I know sounds kind of depressing, but it's really trying to instill a sense of equality and communal cooperation.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Here in America, things are kind of completely, actually, it's 100% different. I mean, as an American, you're basically raised as, we're number one, and like, you want to fight and claw your way to the top, and like, that's just the mindset we have over here. I love the mindset of you're not better than the crowd. We're all part of the same thing. I feel like other countries just do this so much better than we do it over here, and it's cool to be kind of, see, you know, that as like a motto, especially for it being such a difference and a contrast here to America. But I absolutely love it. I definitely respect the heck out of that. I guess that maybe that keeps you guys humble. Maybe that keeps you guys more, yeah, I guess humble is the right word. And just like, hey, you know, we're all kind of the same thing. I'm not going to go on my hippie little rampage here, but I'm just going to say I dig it.
Hygge translates to something like spend good times with friends and family, and it's
cool.
like a cozy thing. Of course, Denmark is known for being ranked one of the happiest overall countries, even though they are also kind of one of the highest ranked consumers of antidepressants as well. But hey, they...
Interesting. I'm surprised by that. I would have assumed America would have been like the highest ranked for antidepressants and stuff like that. Every other ad we have on TV is about a depression medicine or medicating yourself or numbing yourself in some way or form. That's interesting. I need to take that back a little bit. I like this little thing too. Spend time with loved ones, with family. Enjoy it.
Family, and it's like a cozy thing. Of course, Denmark is known for being ranked one of the happiest overall countries, even though they are also kind of one of the highest ranked consumers of antidepressants as well. But hey, they still pull off everyday life looking oh so good, even if it's during one of those really loud annual emergency drills.
Okay, Christine, explain what's happening right now.
What the hell is this?
Just testing the sirens for warfare. Yeah, when we're being attacked by the Germans again.
I'm scared. I'm really, really scared right now.
Let's run to the security basement.
The Germans are coming! Speaking of Germans...
Okay. So that's an annual thing they said. Have you ever experienced that? Is there like speakers actually throughout all of Denmark where like they have to worry about Germany attacking again, like in World War II? Or is it, I don't know, maybe just for like natural disasters or something maybe? That's crazy. That's kind of creepy. That's kind of creepy that history's like right there, right behind you guys, you know? And it's just a kind of a constant reminder. Even though they were just kind of having fun with that little drill, it's still got to be kind of, I don't know, ominous, just kind of hearing those giant sirens. We have something like that here in America out Midwest when we have tornado warnings coming through. And if you've ever heard one of those things, it's definitely scary. It's definitely like, oh, okay, something's about to go down. You can feel it in the air, and it's something.
Now, we all know that one person we're all kind of jealous of because they're kind of rich, well-adjusted, and have a ton of friends, and they're like kind of good-looking. Well, that's Norway. Denmark is a little bit rockier. No, but seriously, for such a small nation, Denmark has a huge entourage of friends, and it's almost kind of hard for anyone in the world to dismiss them at a party. As a founding member of the EU and NATO, Denmark has had roots planted in diplomacy for decades. First off, Denmark generally gets along with Germany. Business between the Germans is a hugely integral part of their economy, and Denmark acts like the gateway to Scandinavia for them and the rest of Europe. The US and the UK are incredibly close as both tangible and cultural imports have been established for centuries. For a while, the Danes even took over parts of the UK, which is why to this day the English language still retains hundreds of Old Norse-derived words like leg, dog, and window. The closest friends, though, would have to be the Nordic countries, Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Iceland. These four are without a doubt Denmark's closest friends, even though Sweden and them have kind of had more wars and battles historically than any other two states in the world. They've moved on and grown up. Out of the Nordic countries, though, Norway would probably be considered their best friends. Danes are obsessed with Norwegians and often consider Norway the girlfriend they took away from Sweden. In conclusion, Denmark is the rich, rainy rascal that always seems to show up on time for every party, but somehow gets all his work done in an organized, efficient manner. Stay tuned, Djibouti is coming up next.
Interesting. I feel like I learned a lot from this. I really do. I like your general kind of mottos you have there of like, you're not bigger than the crowd. I really enjoy that. I definitely respect that. I think that's cool. I think that's a really important thing to teach others, and it's just kind of a really cool thing to have. I thought it was absolutely beautiful over there as well. The rolling hills, the Christmas trees, everything. Like it's very lush and beautiful, even though it's a flat land. I mean, it seems like a very like walkable place. Like it's a cool place to go hiking and just kind of just enjoy the vast skylines and whatnot. The food, at least from that one fancy restaurant, the one Noma, I think it was, like the best restaurant in the world, they say. I don't know. Live ants on top of some sort of meat? Probably not for me. I don't know. I mean, I'd give it a try. I'd definitely give it a try. But I don't know. Eating ants in general just seems like we probably don't need to do that. There's other foods. We don't need to be eating ants. But hey, maybe it's delicious. I doubt it, but maybe it's delicious. The tax thing surprised me too. I didn't realize you were one of the most taxed places in the world. And I asked that question before, and I definitely would love to know. Do you feel like the taxes are worth it? Do you think do you feel like you're actually taken care of and these tax dollars are going towards your benefit, or do you think it's more of kind of a cash grab towards the people? Here in America, we have that issue where we think, hey, let's have all the taxes, but we don't really know exactly what they're going for, and we hear about a ton of corruption, and it leads us to like really not trust the government sometimes. So I'm curious to see what you guys think about that, about your own country and about the honesty, I guess, of your government officials and taxes. I'd be curious to see what you think about that. But yeah, it looks beautiful. It looks awesome. I loved it. I think I learned a lot, guys. If you made it to the end of the video, please let me know down in the comments. This was an absolute blast, and I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to try and virtually travel the world by just learning about different cultures and all that fun jazz. So if you enjoyed your time with me today, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'm going to catch you out on the next video. Good night, everybody.